We're live in Costa Mesa, California, and this is your Namaste Today. Good morning, my friends, and Namaste, and welcome to Namaste Today in the Zodiac weather. My name is Christopher Witecki. I am the sensei to Sirius joy, here to stand in my heart each day and walk in the light. May I say it's a pleasure to see you again today. I'm love casting live in 5 dimensions on this beautiful temple of Gaia, live from my writing porch, actually. This is my porch that I come out to write things on. Like write down profanities, write down post-its. No, I'm kidding. No, where I'm trying to write a book and I try to get creative, I come near nature. So I'm live from my own little porch here. And this is for Tuesday, May 5th, 2015. And today, Step 15 rules the day. Step 15 on May 5th, 2015. Lots of 5s going on there. I like to pay attention to the numbers. Now, Step 15 is a good day. Let me just tell you. I can tell you right now, by the end of the day, you will feel replenished and you should feel restored to balance. So restored back to zero, restored back to green, feeling okay about everything. And that's really important. I don't care how many things you have to do. It's really important right now that you go ahead and restore to balance because we are in Taurus, which means we are programming our consciousness on how the whole year is going to be. What is reality going to be like? Will you be out with flowers? Will you be inside with stress? So it's important to go ahead and allow this balance to come. And today I'll explain how the balance comes and how you kind of put your consciousness in a certain motion so that you can receive. But know that you will be restored. Now, if you've been waiting for something like a check or a phone call or just a thank you from somebody, that sort of thing tends to happen as well, I find, on a Step 15 day. I've been doing this for a long time now, 9 years now. Woot, woot, 9 years on camera doing astrology. And I will say Step 15 is where everything is replenished in every sign, and it doesn't really matter what's going on. God does kind of make sure that we eventually balance. So we'll talk about how to call upon that. But before we do, let's first tame our brain, shall we, with the phrase of today. I am mindful of my heart today and everything I am manifesting. It's just so simple, and you got to keep it simple, I think. Okay? So for one, we have to be mindful of our heart. And if you don't know what that means, let me just keep spelling it down in very simple terms. It means that you know what your heart thinks about everything. So when the boss says we're going to order out Chinese, you know if your heart likes that idea or not likes that idea. Now your heart always likes or doesn't like the idea. The point of enlightenment is that we are making that important. We're bringing it to the table. Now, you may not be able to change what the boss is ordering for lunch, but I think you need to be mindful of the fact that your heart don't like that, or your heart's excited, right? And if your heart don't like that, well, then maybe you've got something in your locker. Maybe you've got something you can bring to the lunch. Maybe you can do something for your heart. So we want to keep and be mindful of our heart. We want to keep our heart happy, and so we want to keep our heart and our morale high. So be mindful of your heart. Then we want to be mindful of everything we're manifesting. And manifestation is very important. We're manifesting a life. We're manifesting, children, jobs, careers. It's not just reality as we see it, but Taurus is the reality. And so you want to make sure that your source energy, which is mindful of your heart, is always available for what you are creating, I manifest. So you want to be mindful of both today. And if you're mindful of both, it'll also make sure that each are restored to proper balance. So one more time, just to keep it in mind, I am mindful of my heart today and everything I am manifesting, and so it is, because I said so. I thought so. Now, the serious step of the day is Step 15. This is 1, I love, plus 5, I think, equals I receive. And receiving is a whole part of our consciousness. We dedicate one part of our consciousness to do nothing but bring things in. This turns into a relationship. So the part of us that brings things in is the part of us that becomes related to people, that becomes married to people, that enters into the back and forth of giving and receiving with others. But in this very simple state today, it is, can you even open the door? And the formula here is said right for us. It is, take what you love, put your mind on what you love, and you'll be able to receive. That's Step 6, which incidentally is Venus and also, just so you know, is good old Libra. Okay, this is what Libras do. They put their mind to it. They're Libras are very intellectual, if you know them. They're air signs, and they're really thinking about what the joy they're about to give somebody or share with somebody. So looking at the architecture of incarnation, this actually adds up in 3 dimensions where we have 5 as the keystone state. As you can see, 5, I think, gets a lot of credit in modern society, but as far as astrology is concerned, it only gets 3 shots at the wheel. All right? You only get 3 shots at the wheel as a step 5. And that would mean, too, by the way, Geminis, these are the days where you have more power than another sign because the universe is playing your tune a bit more. So whenever your number comes up, you are more empowered than the average bear, let's say. So in the first dimension, we are mindful of what? The mind. The mind is, I think, therefore I am. That's basically what the first dimension is. I think, therefore I am. Now we're at step 15, which is I love and trust, and I think what? As soon as you think something and you love it and trust it, then you open up to it, basically. So to put our mind on what our heart wants opens us up to what our heart wants. And that's what today's about, and that's what this dimension is about. We'll talk about in the third dimension at step 25, where the 5 is about listening to God. A whole different use of the mind, actually, than it is right here. Here it's driving. At the top, it's going to be navigating. We'll talk more about that in a second. So let's look at how our colors and our chakras light up today with the ruling colors. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So looking at the ruling colors, well, as you well know, we're in I Manifest Taurus, which all comes from the second chakra. Manifestation comes from the second chakra, which is actually a blend of the root and of our emotions and thoughts in the third chakra. And that's basically where our second focus is today, our thoughts. So yellow lights up today because our minds light up today. Our minds are more powerful than normal when step 5 is involved in the architecture of today's incarnation. Just like I said, Geminis are going to feel a little bit more spiffy because the universe is dosing out some 5. And that means that our yellow chakra is lighting up, thereby giving that I Manifest Orange a bit more of steering ability, right? This is a day where we can really kind of steer that orange because we're taking control of the yellow. We're taking control of our thoughts. Now, feelings come right along with thoughts. So when you self-nurture and you're mindful of your heart, pretty much you are tending to your feelings that way. If your heart doesn't like something, your feelings will speak up. Feelings are really a communication tool for the soul. Then, of course, this all adds up to a 6, I receive, which comes from the throat chakra. So it's all about negotiation. And if I have met a Libra recently, a young little Libra boy, and maybe his mom is watching, but I noticed this in the Libras very young. It's all about negotiation right away. That throat chakra is active with those Libras, and they are ready to talk about and negotiate. Jimmy Carter, same way. So your throat chakra is lit up today, and if you're having a little rasp in your voice or issue with your throat, you might actually have issues with receiving. You may say you're actually saying, I'm having a hard time speaking up for myself. Yes, because right after that is you're going to receive criticism, receive something that you may or may not like. So let's look now at the cosmic clock and see the timing of everything. And here we are at the cosmic clock. Well, the sun has progressed to step 15 Taurus. Step 15, like I said earlier, is I love the 1, plus I think the 5. So when we think about what we love, we open up to receiving, step 6. And receiving for what purpose? Taurus. We're in Taurus right now, so we're receiving for the purpose of manifestation, creating things that we want. So you're basically trying to open up to receiving the materials or the support you need to manifest what you want to manifest. Now, we mentioned there's a lot of 5s going on today, so where is Mercury? Mercury is at step 6, Gemini. So Mercury is in the home state in its own thinking. That means our thoughts are very powerful right now, more powerful than usual when Mercury is in the home sign. Secondly, Mercury is open to step 6, receiving. This is how the day ends up, right? So our mind is already thinking about receiving and opening up to receiving. Well, good, Mercury. I'm glad you're on board. Then we move to Venus. She's the part of us that actually does the receiving. And what does Venus report into? Step 27, Gemini. 27 is if you feel it and God doesn't warn you that there's a problem, 7, then you do it. You act. And because it's Venus, action means opening up for business. getting in the hot tub. You know what I mean? Like going for it, whatever that means. Like go ahead, you know. So you're opening up at that point. But the important formula is you open if you feel it, like, oh, I'm so feeling that hot tub. And you open it if you sense it's going to be okay. And that's what you check God consciousness step 7 for, are for warnings. Sometimes I get, when I check God consciousness, like, don't bother, she's not going to show up. It's like, oh, well, I'm glad I asked, you know, like, because then I'm like getting all excited. What will I wear? You know, and then God's like, nah, and they're just fucking with me. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like, oh, but I'm so glad. The old days, I used to do it anyways, make sure I win anyways. Now I check the 7 before I act, so you'll learn. So today, check your 7, make sure that there's nothing funky going on there. Then Mars is at step 25. Now this is interesting too. Mars is the part of us that actually opens the door, that actually jumps in the hot tub. Venus is the part of us that says, okay, let's do it. I'll open up to the idea. And Mars is like, okay, let's go. It's going to be cold for a few minutes. You know what I mean? Like that's your Mars side. So Mars, the part that pushes, is saying we will push at step 25. If we feel it and the mind says, okay, that brings us back to Mercury. So the 5 here is deciding whether or not you act. In other words, with all these states of awareness, all wanting things from you today, your mind actually has the trigger. And this adds to a 7, which means you'll end up doing God's work, so to speak. You'll end up serving the Spirit if you act only when you feel and think about it aligned. All right? Now, this brings us to where the moon is. The moon is in Sagittarius today, not just Sagittarius, but she's crossing over Saturn, Sirius Saturn. Saturn is the Sirius in Sirius Joy. So Saturn is at actually retrograde step 2, which means that we are re-exploring retrograde, our feelings, step 2, and our philosophies about feelings. So how we feel about certain philosophies and how certain philosophies make us feel. And what we're doing is breaking out of old beliefs. We've been doing that ever since Saturn hit step 4 and started retrograding back. We're breaking out of old beliefs. So today, as the moon crosses in front of Saturn, this is a moment where you emotionally feel this part of you that's super serious about what you feel or believe or don't feel and believe. And let me just tell you right now, it's going to change. It is going to change. Whatever you think you believe is going to change. Today's emotional wave is part of it changing. It's evidence of coming in of why things should change in your Constitution, your Bill of Rights. That's what Sagittarius is. Now, it's not just the moon crossing Saturn. There's more. Saturn is opposing Mercury right now. So that means our hearts and our thoughts, our feelings and our thoughts, really tug a war back and forth on each other. And of course, our feelings are tied up in very serious discussion with Saturn. And our thoughts are trying to be free and trying to just receive on the other side. So one of the things that keeps the mind from opening up to receiving is that it's getting pulled on by the moon. Okay, so your emotions, the baby in you, keeps whining and crying. And that's the opposition of the moon opposing Mercury. Inside you, it's that your emotions are whining and crying and your mind has an agenda. Okay? And this is how these things kind of play out in the astrology. But wait, there's more. Saturn is not just opposing Mercury, okay? Saturn is also, for one, trining Jupiter, which is direct and saying, hey, move forward with what the heart wants. So remember, we're supposed to be mindful of the heart. Well, Jupiter is rah, 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 sis kumbah, like the heart is it. And Jupiter is pushing, pushing, pushing at step 13, by the way, which is based on what you believe, 3. And on top of this complexity, this spaghetti bowl in space right now, we also have Saturn is squaring Neptune. And this is a square that's going to go on for some time, ladies and gentlemen. But what's important about this square is it brings up fear. And with the Neptune side, Neptune's at step 9, which means Neptune is saying, hey, it's time to act on your faith. Act on your faith. So unfortunately what happens is fear comes up, especially about what you feel you believe or don't believe in the Moon-Saturn part of it. And in that moment, there's nothing to really do but act on your faith, which means act on that 7. Act on that 7 information that you get. So if the universe doesn't tell you anything, okay, you're free to act. If the universe tells you you're wasting your time, you're going to get a flat tire, you should act on that information. I think that's how it all adds up. So looking at the towers of truth today in the architecture of incarnation, Venus is, like I said, at step 27. She is ready, if you feel it and you sense it, to open up to receive. And Mercury is also open up to receive, but for other reasons, she is at step 6. Now the step differential between them is 21, which means belief will be what unite the thoughts and the uniting, right? So it's because they're under a common belief, says the architecture. Now moving at the Taurus consciousness, Mars is at step 25, and the sun today is at step 15. So we're going to come to that peace. We're going to come to that equal resonance. And what's interesting is if we unite our Mars at 25 with our sun at 15, the step differential is 10. So by uniting these actions, what happens? We manifest. We manifest together. This is how planets kind of play a note, if you will, and play notes together, as I've started to notice. So today is a very, very powerful day. But what do you focus on with all those fireworks? Well, that's why I've come up with this little segment coming up next called Your Joy Quest. Your joy question, you choose to accept it, is believe in what works. Now, I base this on the step 6 energy, when we receive. A lot of people do the spiritual work to open up to receive, but what they're opening up to receive to isn't working. It doesn't work. So I know lots of female clients who have opened up and they're ready for some particular man, and he's not showing up. So that means that although you can open up, although you are in love, it doesn't work. This isn't what's supposed to be where you receive. Where we're meant to receive, it will be easy breezy. That's been my sensei experience. I've noticed that the right path is easy. It's a no-brainer. It doesn't take some sort of hero stunt in order for you to pull it off. You basically just have to get showered and dressed. You know what I mean? So look for what works and believe in what works. And if you want something greater than what works, well, that will be the next time around that we have step 6 ruling the day. Now, if you're watched over in my personal Sensei network, today I'll be helping you along the way at 9:09 a.m. I'll be talking about the tug-of-war going on in your life between the moon and Mercury. Then at 11:11 a.m., I'll be talking about where belief must change for you. So where's that moon Saturn hitting your natal chart? That's your natal chart we're talking about. And then at 3:03 p.m., look for some more information about you, about where you should be acting on faith right now. So there's one part of your life where you should be acting on faith without questioning. I'll talk you through it at 3:03. Now, if you'd like to join my personal Sensei network, it is just $19.95, and you'll get 5 to 7 very inspiring text messages through the day. Plus, I'm now doing a vocal coaching that comes out on weekends. For more information, come on down to SiriusJoy.me. Now, let's move on to today's telepathy. I'm switching it up and moving on to women. In fact, I'm moving on to historical legends who are women and Tauruses. This is kind of interesting. So I'm thinking of one of these female historical legends. Which am I thinking of? Is it number 1, the first lady, Dolly Madison? Number 2, actress and activist Eva Peron? Or number 3, actress and U.S. ambassador Shirley Temple? Which of these 3 ladies and Tauruses am I thinking about? I'll have the answer right after this. Why can't you find love? How long have you really been single? Really? Having trouble finding that special soulmate? I can solve this one. Secrets of Birthdays, now live for purchase. Your love trouble? Over. All that and more at secretsofbirthdays.com. And welcome back to Namaste Today. So for the answer to today's telepathy, from my temple to yours, I was beaming to you these Taurus female history legends. Taurus female history legends. First, was it number 1, Dolly Madison, number 2, Eva Peron, or number 3, Shirley Temple? And the answer is Dolly Madison. Did you see it? Did you get a cupcake in your head or some sort of a package? I think it's kind of absurd that Dolly Madison now is basically a cupcake, and God has help you if there's a Chris Witecki sweet treat in 300 years. I will be maybe not happy about that, by the way. It's not what my work is here for, but I chose Dolly Madison because she was amazing. She was the first lady to James Madison. He was the president from 1809 to 1817, and she really put the first in First Lady. And she did it in a time when women were not equal. I think that it's amazing that she basically established the respect of the First Lady and the respect of the woman's role in the White House the entire time. She also was the one that saved George Washington's painting during the War of 1812, so she's famous for that and really protecting the White House. And she also basically started the bringing in the elite, like the whole idea of a White House ball and the whole idea of, White House dinners. This is all Dolly Madison. And of course, we pay her awesome tribute by putting her on the face of a sweet treat that will kill you. But anyways, I think she's wonderful. I think it's awesome. And she was an amazing woman back then. And every first lady has been respected since then. And that is one of the cool parts of our country that we don't talk about very much, but that we treat the first lady with respect. I don't know if you see that in the rest of the world. So let's move on to the rest of our next show. It's now moving on to today's rock and roll gospel. And we are moving on with more Tauruses as well, working with Taurus musicians. And Taurus musicians tend to bring great value to a situation. They tend to highlight the value in a song, usually, of course, about something in life. And today is a classic. His name is Duke Ellington. Don't know if you know Duke Ellington. I know Duke Ellington. You probably do. His music has also probably been in yogurt commercials and all sorts of stuff, I have to say. Again, that's how we respect people. But he was born on April 29th, 1899, and he is a Step 9 Taurus. And boy, was he a Step 9. This guy was always on fire. The song I'm going to choose from 1931 is It Don't Mean a Thing. Remember that song? If you ain't got that swing, then it don't mean a thing. Do-what, 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 do-what. That whole thing, that was him. Very Taurus. And one thing cool about Taurus, you think about George Lucas, you think about any Taurus out there, when you go into their song or their music or anything, you're in their world. You go into their world and they pull you in the world, and his music was the same way. So play a little music today with Duke Ellington, a Taurus from the past. But before you go off on that swing, let's take a look at the moods of each of your brothers and sisters today, and a special soul vitamin. Something that'll get you through the day if you take it at least once a day, maybe twice a day. I recommend 3 times. Today's soul vitamin is to remind yourself of how it's time to feel differently about something. It's time to feel differently about something. And you might want to take that a couple of times a day and think about this, because you're going to feel stuck in this area, but it's now time to feel different. And we'll do this in the order of the 11 steps to Sirius Joy, starting with the first step, which is private and secret. Step 0, the Scorpios. Scorpios, sunny and manifesting today, but I have to say, it's time to rewrite how you feel about money and self-confidence. Rewrite those beliefs about what is self-confidence and what is money. Step 1, the Leos, sunny and childlike today, but you have to rewrite how you feel about what love really is and what true creativity really is. So that relationship to the inner child is being rewritten. Step 3, the Sagittarius is sunny and cool at the moon in their sign, and it's time now to rewrite what your character is and what your ego is. You may think you are this, but Sagittariuses are now changing. Step 4, the Aquarius is sunny and social today, but it's now time to rewrite how you feel about who you are in the world. You might have felt you were one way, now you're going to start to feel that you are different. Step 5, the Geminis, sunny and sentimental today. It's now time to rewrite how it feels to be with you. So how does it feel to be alone with you? Do you like it? Are you bored? Do you not like it? That's what it's like to be married to you, I'm just saying. Well, that's what it is. You are basically setting up for relationships by rewriting what it's like to feel being with you. Step 6, the Librans, sunny and chit-chatty today, but you're rewriting how you feel about your thinking at large. Does your thinking serve you? Does your thinking not serve you? Does it create panic? Step 7, the Pisces, sunny and professional today, but rewriting how you feel about your career direction. You might have felt it was going one way, now you may feel it's going another. Step 8, the Capricorns, sunny and private and withdrawn today, rather spiritual. And that's because you're rewriting how you feel about faith or God at large. So Capricorns rewriting their faith right now. Step 9, the Aries, sunny and passionate, particularly about their beliefs. And right now, you will be rewriting how you feel about certain beliefs. So Aries might say, I used to believe this, and I used to feel that. But you'll find that your Arises are changing right before election time. Step 10, the Tauruses, sunny with a chance of handy today. It's their birthday period. I'm just days away. But rewriting how they feel about what trust is and what intimacy is. And then finally, step 11's the Virgos, sunny, nesting, and resting today. But changing how you feel about family and about your home life. Moving on to the Lightwalker Parade. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe. We thank you ahead of time. And if you're on Facebook, you can be our friend by going to soulgarden.me. And if you'd like to try me out for a reading, right now I've got a 1-hour special for my birthday. If you purchase a 1-hour reading, you'll get a 30-minute follow-up for free that you can use up through August 31st of this year. I have to say I'm quite a clown in a reading, so expect to be entertained and expect it to be a memorable experience. But come on down to soulmart.me if you want more details on that. And if you'd like to join in the fun and help me remind you to stay in your heart 5 to 7 times a day, that's why I made this service, because I needed it. I needed something reminding me to stay in my heart. Come on down to SiriusJoy.me. And as I promised, the Megascope Monthlies will be out soon. I'm actually making them into channels. They're going to be channels, so people don't have to buy video every month. I just feel like we need to make things easy and smooth. So I appreciate your patience with me. I am a Taurus. I do it right, especially over my birthday period, but I'll have notes on that. And I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful for all of the messages, and I'm grateful for all the love, and I'm grateful for all the people who do reach in their pockets and help. It keeps me moving on the air. So thank you. Keep being you. I'll keep being me. And remember, believe in what works today. I love you, and live, love, be.
This is just so ironic.